Text 19 bei mir. Da kann man auf dem Handy schauen. Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Navallabha Girivaradhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parirajacharya Sutta Sutta Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande. Glorious assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shishi Guru and Gauranga, glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jadirye Nashta Prayeshu Apadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtiki. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, Text 19. Aham cha yogeshvaram atma tattva vidam muninam paramam gurum vai prashtum pravritta kim iharanam tat shakshat tarim jnana kalavatirinam aham cha yogeshvaram atma tattva vidam muninam paramam gurum vai prashtum pravritta kim iharanam tat shakshat tarim jnana kalavatirinam. Aham cha yogeshvara atma tattva vidam muninam paramam gurum vai prashtum pravritta kim iharanam tat shakshat tarim jnana kalavatirnam. Aham, I, cha, and Yoga Ishwaram, the master of all mystic power. Atma Tattva Vidam, of the learned scholars who are aware of the spiritual science. Muninam, of such saintly persons. Paramam, the best. Gurum, the preceptor. Vai, indeed. Prastum, to inquire. Pravrittaha, engaged. Kim, what? Iha, in this world. Aranam, the most secure shelter. Secure shelter. Tat, that which. Shakshat Harim, directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jnana Kala Avatirnam, who has descended as the incarnation of complete knowledge in his plenary portion known as Kapiladev. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You are the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. We have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are direct representative of Kapiladev, the incarnation of God, and the plenary portion of knowledge. I am therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? Purport. As Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgadanantaratmanaha shradhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately and united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Gita 6:47. Just 1 second. Jada Bharat was a perfect yogi. He was formerly the Emperor Bharat Maharaj, and he was now the most exalted personality among learned sages and the master of all mystic powers. Although Jada Bharat was an ordinary living entity, he had inherited all the knowledge given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapiladev. He could therefore be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Srila Vishnavad Chakravarti Thakur in his stanza to the spiritual master Shakshatharidvena Samasta Shastrair. An exalted personality like Jada Bharat is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he fully represents the Lord by giving knowledge to others. Jada Bharat is herein accepted as the direct representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he was imparting knowledge on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Maharaj Rahugana concluded that it was appropriate to ask him about Atma Tattva, the spiritual science. Tat Vijnanarthanam sa gurum eva vikichet. From Mukunda Upanishad 1-12. This Vedic injunction is also confirmed herein. If anyone is at all interested in knowing the spiritual science, Brahma Jigyasa, he must approach a guru like Jada Bharat. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Pistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are still hearing from the story of the king Rahugana encounters Chadabharat. He engages him as a carrier of the palanquin and then chastises him heavily because he's not carrying properly. And then when he's kind of chastising him, Chadabharat starts to speak. And the king starts to realize this is not an ordinary carrier, this is actually, as we would say, a far out personality. And so much so that now in this shloka, there's quite a change of consciousness, right? First, in a very arrogant way, he chastises him. You're a fool, don't you know I'm the king, you're my servant. You're not capable, you're a foolish person. And now he accepts him as a guru. Now he says, oh my God, I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You're the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. You have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are the direct representative of Kapila Dev, the incarnation of God, and the plenary portion of knowledge. And then he takes a humble position. I'm therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? So this is quite a change of consciousness from King Rahugana, from being an arrogant ruler, chastising one of his servants heavily, and now kind of taking the role of a humble servant, seeking shelter and glorifying him as the greatest personality. And Srila Prabhupada quotes Yoginam api sarvesham because King Rahugana glorifies Chadabharat as the Yogeshwaram, Ahamcha Yogeshwaram Atma Tattvam. So he sees him as the Yogeshwaram, as the master of mystic power, master of yoga. And Prabhupada quotes Yoginam api sarvesham to confirm that amongst all yogis, the bhakta, the devotee of the Lord, is the greatest yogi. And then as King Rahugana glorifies Chadabharat as the your direct representative of the incarnation of God, Prabhupada therefore quotes Srila Vishnava Chakra Thakur Shakshat Hari Dvena Samasta Shastrir, what we chant every morning. That the spiritual master, the guru, actually is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we say non-different, then the word Shakshat Hari Dvena is important. Hari means the Lord, and Shakshat Hari Dvena means like directly, just like the Lord. He's not the Lord himself, but he's just like the Lord and a representative, and therefore given the same respect as the Lord. And therefore he is also able to give Atma Tattva. So accepting a spiritual master is crucial, because we are born in ignorance and we need transcendental knowledge in order to understand the ultimate goal of life. And for that we need to accept a guru, one who can impart such knowledge. And King Rahugana now accepts Chadabharat as such a guru, such a personality. And one should never think the guru to be an ordinary person, right? And because the holy name is as powerful that he can actually deliver one who has offended Hari. But deliverance is impossible for one who offends a Vaishnava. No? If we offend the Vaishnava, if we disrespect the Vaishnava, then we are basically lost. And especially the position of the spiritual master is very important, the pure devotee, because the Vaishnava is extremely dear to Krishna, and this is Krishna's system. He wants that we accept the shelter of one of his dear devotees, and by accepting the shelter of one of his dear devotees, we become dear to him also. That's another significance of accepting a guru. Like we can say, okay, we need a guru because he gives knowledge, but another reason why we accept guru is because that's the way Krishna has set it up. That we not directly go to Krishna, but we first prove our loyalty, our bhakti, by surrendering to a bhakta. And the bhakta is so dear to Krishna that actually Krishna loves to glorify his bhakta. Here it says, when Lord Ramachandra wanted to conquer Sri Lanka, what did he do? We just celebrated Ram Navami. And in the drama we saw also. What did they do to cross the ocean? They built a bridge with floating stones. We saw the stones floating in the drama. Of course, you can argue that this is also a miracle that the Lord performed to make stones float, right? That's kind of it's not an ordinary task. Writing your name. No, if you write your name Guru Nishta on a stone, can the stone float? Of course, Guru Nishta is also a spiritual name, but most probably the stone will not float, right? But they put the name of Ram on the stones, and then by Lord Ram's mystical power, the stones they floated, and then they crossed the bridge. Nevertheless, for Ram to cross the ocean, he had to build a bridge first. But his devotee, his bhakta, Hanuman, he just jumped. Hanuman just stood on a hill and said, Jai Shri Ram! And then Hanuman just jumped over the ocean and then landed in Lanka. So who is greater, Ram or Hanuman? Hanuman is greater. Hanuman ki Jai. Actually, today is Hanuman Jayanti, and we will talk, if time permits, we talk more about Hanuman. So actually, this is the Lord always likes to glorify his devotees. So Bhagavan had to make a huge bridge to cross, but like Ram, and Hanuman just jumped. So a bhakta has much Shakti, and of course that's Bhagavan's Kripa Shakti. Therefore, his position is very high. Krishnera Samanta Haita Bada Bhakta Bhada. The position of being a devotee is higher than that of equality with the Lord. No, some spiritual tradition, they try to become one with God. I want to be equal with God. I become one with God. But actually to be a bhakta is actually a greater position than to be one with God. Because the Lord loves his devotees and the Lord serves his devotees, and the Lord always glorifies his devotees, puts the position of his devotees on a higher position than himself. And for the disciple, of course, the relationship between the guru is very, very intimate. That's why we say, Chakshudanu Dilude Janme Chamme Prabhu Se. You are my master, life after life. This is not an ordinary relationship. And there is a beautiful, in Chaitanya Mangala it says, Sei se parama bandhu, sei patta pitta matta, sei Krishna charane, prema bhakta dhatta. Shakala chanme pitta, matta sabe paya, Krishna guru nai mele, bajahiya haya. Gurudev is my friend, Gurudev is my father, Gurudev is my mother, Gurudev is my instructor, because he could give me prema bhakti. Due to him, bhakti has developed within me, and I can serve Krishna's lotus feet. Therefore, Gurudev is everything for me. So in this world we have many relationships. We have a relationship to father and mother, and brother and sister, and husband and wife. But the relationship to Guru is very unique because in every birth we have father and mother. It doesn't matter where you take birth, you always have a father and a mother, right? That's how it works. Even if you take birth as a pig or a cat or a dog, you will have a father and a mother, right? Dog mother and dog father. In every life you have father and mother, but very rarely you get Guru. And although father and mother, of course, they give a lot to us, but nevertheless the Guru gives us Krishna. And that's why Guru is the real father, the real mother, the real friend, the real teacher, the real guide. That's why Guru is everything for us. Because only by Guru's mercy we attain Krishna, and only by attaining Krishna we attain the perfection of life. So therefore Guru is glorified. And this Guru is understood to be non-different from the Lord. Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Shastrera Pramane Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa Kare Bhakta Ghane. So Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Shastra. All the Shastras say that Guru is a manifestation of Krishna. Paramatma sits in the heart of everyone. And that Paramatma actually is the Chaitya Guru. He from within, he tries to guide us. But unfortunately we are not able to hear him, listen to him so nicely. So out of his mercy, Paramatma appears in the form of a Guru in front of us. And then from outside, Paramatma is teaching. So the Guru is understood to be a manifestation of Paramatma. Because Guru knows our heart and he represents Krishna. And then by accepting such a Guru, we can attain perfection. And as a disciple, what is our duty once we have accepted a Guru? To follow his instruction, yes. And even more. Let me see. Yes. To accept him as a representative, yes. And Sandipani Muni, we have the story in Krishna book how Krishna and Sudam, they're going out to get some wood for the Sandipani Muni, collect some dry wood for fire sacrifice. What happens? Big storm comes, rain, and then they take shelter underneath the tree, they protect the wood, and then they wait the whole night. And then Sandipani Muni and the other disciples actually search for Krishna. And when the next morning when they come back, Sandipani Muni is very pleased that his disciples, Krishna, has taken so much hardship just to serve him, just to, and they carefully protected the wood so it remains dry, and they wanted to bring it to the Guru, so he was very pleased. And then he said the following: "This indeed is the duty of all true disciples, to repay the debt to their spiritual master by offering him with pure hearts their wealth and even their very lives." To repay the debt to the spiritual master. Actually, it's not possible. Why? Because Krishna is giving us, the Guru is giving us Krishna. So how can you repay that? If someone gives you something so valuable, you can never repay it. You're eternally indebted to the spiritual master. Because the spiritual master, he's freeing you from the cycle of birth and death, and he gives you Krishna. So, for a disciple, at least we should try to offer whatever we have, and even our very lives we should offer to the Guru. That means we should engage our lives in Guru's mission, right? And to engage in Guru's mission is one of the 9 processes of devotional service, right? This is Dasyam. One of the 9 processes of devotional service is Dasyam, to serve the mission of the Lord. And The Lord's mission is also Guru's mission. Guru's mission is Lord's mission. And who is the perfect example of serving in the mission of the Lord? Hanuman ki jai. So this brings us to Hanuman. I try to connect the shloka. So here we are with Hanuman. So today is Hanuman Jayanti. Today is an auspicious stage. It's Balaram Vasant. What is it? It's a Purnima day. There is a different auspicious Rasa Yatra, and then there is also Shivananda Prabhu's appearance and Vamsivadana Dharis, also appearance or disappearance. Yes. So it's a very auspicious Purnima day, full moon day, and it's also Hanuman Jayanti. That means the appearance of Hanuman, the greatest servant of Lord Ram. So the Hanuman appears in the Ramayana in the fourth Kanda, fourth chapter or book, Kishkind Kand. There Hanuman first time appears in the Ramayana, right? So the story is like that. Sugriva, who is a great ruler of the monkeys, although he's in exile, but he is in a forest and he hears that there is two warriors. The warriors are entering his forest, and he's worried. Maybe these are spies of Vali. Who is Vali? Vali is his own brother, but there was a misunderstanding between Sugriva and Vali, and they became enemies. The brothers became enemies, and Vali took over the kingdom. Sugriva was in exile, and they were they were enemies. So Sugriva was concerned, who are these two warriors entering the forest? So he requested Hanuman, Hanuman, you go and find out who these people are. So what did Hanuman do? He he disguised himself in the form of a brahmana, a sadhu. And then when Hanuman saw Ram and Lakshman, he asked him, Namaste, Namaskar, who are you? And Lakshman answered, this is Ram, the son of Dasharat, and I'm Lakshman, and we are here in the forest searching for Mother Sita. And when Hanuman heard the name Ram, he immediately falls at the feet and offers obeisance and cries tears of love and devotion. Because Hanuman, since his birth, was a great devotee of Lord Ram. And now his Lord is standing in front of him. And then he offers obeisances, he offers prayers, Hare Krishna. And then Hanuman is will open in 5 minutes. Yeah. Please have a seat. So Hanuman is questioning, how is it possible that I could not recognize you? You're my Lord, but somehow I didn't recognize you at the first moment. And then the Lord explained, well, you came in disguise. So you came, in a disguise. How can you recognize me? So basically, the life lesson here is that honesty is very important. We can't put a facade before the Lord. Hanuman disguised when he went to meet the Lord Ram. Lord Ram knows within who we are, and we have to be honest to receive the mercy of the Lord. So because Hanuman was disguised, he didn't show his true. Hanuman didn't show his true face in front of the Lord. So that's why the Lord was not. He could not recognize the Lord himself. So that means that when you go in front of the Lord, you should always be honest and very open. Anyhow, of course, Hanuman then takes Ram and Lakshman on his shoulders and then brings him to Sugriva. There's famous pictures. Huge Hanuman and Ram Lakshman on the shoulders. And he brings him to Sugriva. And then they become friends. And of course, there's a long story. Ram helps Sugriva to gain back his kingdom and kills Vali. And then they make plans to search for Sita, right? And this is when the Sundarkand starts, when Hanuman goes on the search for Sita. Because they knew that Sita was captured or kidnapped by Ravana, and she was kept somewhere in Lanka. But the question was how to reach Lanka. And they were kind of discussing who amongst the monkeys is able to jump from here to Lanka. It's a long distance, you know. Who is able to jump as long, because they didn't have a boat, they didn't have, so someone has to just jump there. And they discussed, and nobody knew who has that power. But then Jambavan said, "I know one person. This is Hanuman. Hanuman, you know, remember your power." And then actually Hanuman was blessed. He understood. Okay, yeah, I actually have that power. And it's interesting because in some way we are all spiritual souls, and actually we have great potency. We are all servants of the Lord, and we are actually spiritual souls, but we have forgotten our true identity, right? We have forgotten who we are, we have forgotten our true spiritual identity, and we identify us with this body, and we think we are this and that. But actually, we are a spiritual soul. So similarly, Hanuman, he actually was not an ordinary monkey, but he was a very powerful personality. But his mystic powers were kind of hidden. Why were they hidden? Because the sages cursed him to forget, right? And that's the like when we look at Hanuman's origin. It's interesting to understand because his mother is Anjani, and but Hanuman is understood to have 3 fathers. It's quite unusual. Usually have one father, but Hanuman has 3 fathers. He's known as Shivaputra, Vayuputra, and Keshariputra. He's known as the son of Shiva, the son of Vayu, and the son of Keshari. So, how is this possible? So it's described that a heavenly Apsara named Punchikashtala appeared in this world as Anjani. And she married Keshari from the Vanara dynasty. And the Vanaras are half human, half monkey, right? So in that sense, Keshari is the father, because he was the one he's the husband of Anjani, and he was the one who, took care of Hanuman as a child and brought him up. So, but when at the same time when Anjani appeared in this world and married Keshari, at that time Lord Shiva was in deep meditation, and he was chanting, reciting Ram, Ram, Ram. And Parvati was asking, which name are you chanting? Ram, Ram. And Shiva said, Ram is a name of the Lord Vishnu. Wonderful incarnation. The Lord will soon appear in this world, and he will appear as Lord Ram. And in order to support the Lord, I will appear in a beautiful form. Like Shiva says, my 10th, like one of my 10th element or an expansion of myself will appear. And then, so Shiva is Hanuman's father because it's actually, it says the 11th Rudra incarnation of Shiva. And Vayu is the sun because it was Vayu who actually brought it's described that the essence or was brought by Vayu, and then Vayu entered into the ear of Anjani, and then Anjani became pregnant. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhara Shishi Gonetai Ki Jai. Like often we hear this kind of divine pregnancy, that a divine child is not born like we are born. So similarly, Anjani became pregnant, not directly through Keshari, but actually Vayu entered her body and brought the essence or semen of Shiva, and in this way Hanuman took birth. So that's why three fathers, Shiva because it's actually an expansion of Shiva, Vayu because he brought the essence, and Keshari because he's the husband of Anjani. So then of course is a story, we all know the story, how Hanuman as a small baby, Bala Hanuman. In Varanasi there is a nice temple of Bala Hanuman. Bala means like child, small, and small child means often like big head, right? Like the body proportion is not yet. So then there is a nice like orange Hanuman Murti in Varanasi with a very huge Hanuman, like huge head, Bala Hanuman. So there is a story when Hanuman was a small baby or a small boy. He woke up in the morning and he looked out of the window and he saw there was a huge mango hanging in the tree. And he climbed out of the window and jumped on the tree trying to catch that mango. But what was the mango? Actually it was the sun. It wasn't a mango, it was the sun. And Hanuman was jumping towards the sun, trying to catch the sun. And then it just happened that there was an eclipse and the Rahu just covered the sun. And Hanuman thought, there is yet another fruit. And then Hanuman started to try to catch the Rahu planet. And then Rahu fled away and he complained to Indra, Hare Krishna, that there is a monkey who is disturbing the universal order. So then Indra carried on Airavata, the elephant, but then Hanuman thought that the elephant is also a fruit, so Hanuman started to jump towards the elephant. And then Indra became, it became too much for Indra. This Hanuman causes so much disturbance. So he put his thunderbolt and he struck Hanuman, and Hanuman fell down. And when Vayu saw that his son, because we heard Vayu is also father of son, when Vayu saw what happened to his son, he became very angry. And Vayu withdrew all the oxygen or all the air, and everyone started to suffocate, like all the gods, they couldn't breathe anymore. And they went to Brahma, and Brahma said, well, what do you expect if you treat Vayu's son like this? So you should all the devas should go to that young boy, and they should offer their blessings. And so they did. And Brahma gave blessings. Live a long life in this body as long as me. Change your form as you like. Indra gave a blessing. Your name is Hanuman, and every bone in your body will be hard like thunderbolt. Basically, you cannot break your bones. Surya gave a blessings. I will be your personal teacher. Varuna gave a blessing. Never ever will there be any danger by water, because I'm Varuna, I'm the god of the ocean or the water. So there will be no danger by water. Yamaraj gave a blessing. You will never see my punishment, no sickness, no disease. The Ashwini Kumaras, the transcendental Ayurvedic doctors, they said, you will have topmost health, always. Shiva himself gave, you will be immune even from death. And Agni, there will be never any danger from fire. And Vishvakarma, immune from the celestial weapons. And finally, Vishnu personally gave a blessing. And what was the blessing of Vishnu? You will be the greatest of all devotees. So in this way, Hanuman got all the blessings of the Devas, and in this way he became extremely powerful. Which is interesting. Like, it shows the source of power is the blessings. You know. When we like to be engaged in the Lord's service, if we like to do something nice for Prabhupada's mission, we depend on the blessings of the Vaishnavas and our seniors. Only by the blessings we will be able to do something substantial. So Hanuman received all these blessings. But remember, this is from his Kumara Lila as a child. He was still a child, he was a boy. And what do boys do? They do all kind of nonsense. And especially now that nobody could stop him, Hanuman started to do all kind of nonsense. He jumped, like the sages, like a little bit reminds us of the stories of Nimai in Navadvip. The sages were standing in the river and chanting their Gayatri, and Hanuman would kind of jump into the water and spitting water in their face. Hanuman would pull their beards. The sages standing there chanting Gayatri, pull their beard, and then while they're in the water taking bath, he would eat their scriptures. Because ancient texts were written on palm leaves, and it takes so much endeavor to transcribe these literatures. So Hanuman would just eat them. He's a monkey; he eats the leaves, and he would tear apart the clothes and do all kind of. And when the rishis they do yakyahi, kind of put water on the fire and then they were trying to chant mantras. He did all kind of noise. Like monkeys, they jump around and destroy everything. And like in Vrindavan, sometimes we try to have a program outside and the monkeys come and give so much disturbance. So then they asked Keshari and Anjana, they complained to the parents, and then finally it was decided that the sages they made a curse on Hanuman, that he will get all his power. He will become again an ordinary boy without any mystic powers, any Shakti. And only later, when it's actually required in the service of the Lord, he will be able to remind his powers. And then he can again use it in the service of the Lord. So that was the agreement. And in this way he was cursed to forget his powers. And now, when they were sitting on the, on that beach or on that shore of the ocean, thinking of who can actually jump so far, Jambavan reminded him. Actually, there is one person who can do it. It is Hanuman, because he actually is very powerful. He just has to remind himself of his powers. And then Hanuman, Jai Shri Ram, he took a huge form, stood on the top of the hill of that shore of the ocean and just jumped. And with one jump, he kind of flew, flying towards Lanka. Shri Hanuman ki Jai. And of course, there is much more to the story. Hanuman will face many obstacles on the path. He will have to fight some demons on the way, and then he will sneak in Ravana's kingdom and searching for Sita, finding her in the Ashok Grove, and finally delivers the ring and then goes back to Ram and gives the good message, and so on and so on. Time is up. Hare Krishna. So, as we heard in the Bhagavatam shloka, King Rahugana recognized Chadabharat as the a powerful devotee of the Lord, and he accepted him as a spiritual master. And we spoke a little bit about the importance of the spiritual master, how for the disciple, the spiritual master is like everything. He's like the father, the mother. And we spoke about how a disciple has a great depth towards the spiritual master. That's why one should engage oneself in the mission of the Lord. This is, an attempt to again serve the Lord, or like repay the debt to the Guru by being engaged in the Lord's mission. And this we can learn from Hanuman. No? So today is a nice day. We can pray to Hanuman, and that he may also become a very determined and very eager to be engaged in the mission of the Lord. And in this way, of course, attract the mercy. There is a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. 6:10:6, 1 second. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 6:10:6, and I'll end with this. If one is advanced in knowledge, he must always be prepared to sacrifice anything for a better cause. At the present moment, the entire world is in a dangerous position under the spell of godless civilization. The Krishna conscious movement needs many exalted learned persons who will sacrifice their lives to revive God consciousness throughout the world. We therefore invite all men and women advanced in knowledge to join the Krishna conscious movement and sacrifice their lives for the great cause of reviving the God consciousness of human society. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Hanuman ki jai, Hare Krishna.
У меня есть Ханумана Чалиса. Есть прямо, кому надо ему прислать. У меня есть. Ира. У меня есть Ханумана Чалиса. Санскрит и перевод.
Very nice. You can chant today. Today is a good day to chant Hanuman Chalisa. Yes, Chalisa.
И на листке есть, и есть в этом самом, в телеграме.
Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Hanuman ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Premarupa ki
Da ist aber eine gute Lösung, aber dann werde ich es jetzt erstmal temporär festmachen und vorschlagen, dass der so spezielle Schrauben anfertigt. So eine Schaltungsstrafe. Sein Vater ist ja Schlosser. Und macht der so. Dann würde ich jetzt einfach diese zwei Haken wieder reinmachen. Dann hängt es wieder oben. Und werde mir notieren, was wir machen müssen, also welche Schrauben wir genau brauchen für den. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Könntest du von unten einen Schraubenzieher holen? Einen flachen Schraubenzieher, der da reinpasst. hier dort hat es auch noch ein Blütchen. Ja, da hat es das die Atmung hier oben abgerissen. Da hat sich jemand anderes noch, wenn man das nutzen kann. Aber das sind ja alle auf diesem.
das Ding schauen?
Du musst jetzt drehbar machen, also nicht ganz fest, das muss man drehen. Ja, genau, muss man noch ablösen. Man muss es nachher von ganz durch. So ist es auch. Das ist auch schon so. Da geht drin so.
Und vielleicht schließen wir cool. Hier will ich noch nicht gut, das da einfach so.
Ja, genau.